Welcome to the first official MarKoni podcast episode. I am so happy to be bringing you this podcast as it is something that I have been wanting to make for so many years now. And in 2026, it's going to be a reality. On this podcast, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics. And to start off the very first episode, we have a Los Angeles-based rising star voice actress, a woman whose career took off from TikTok and pursued chances that don't often just appear out of nowhere. And now you know her best from Glitch Productions' newest series, Knights of Guinevere, as the lovable and relatable Andy. Please welcome my longtime friend, Zelda Khan Black.
Oh man, did I hit the record button? Oh well, welcome to the MarKoni podcast.
Zelda, welcome to the MarKoni podcast. Thank you for being a part of it.
Thank you for finally inviting me.
I'm so excited to have you and to talk about your transition between moving from New York to LA, navigating, and what it's like being Andy, and just kind of going down a list of your past. So I don't think there's any other good way to start but then to kind of talk about the beginning. You began creating TikToks for a couple of different shows, such as Once Upon a Time as Regina and Avatar: The Last Airbender as Azula. And from that, you have amassed a huge following just from that. Can you tell us the inspiration behind creating those videos and the impersonations?
Before I made the TikToks, I was working at Disney, doing the Disney College program, and I worked in the parks, and everything was fine, happy hunky-dory. I thought I was just going to be there eating Dole Whips for the rest of my life, and then the pandemic happened. I was like, uh-oh, it's fine. We'll only have 2 weeks of work off, and then I got shipped back home to upstate New York, where I had no job because I worked in a restaurant prior, so I had no job, no ambition, no direction. I think I started off by doing, like, Once Upon a Time, and then I did some Joyce Byers content, and then I was like, you know what, it just kind of happened with impressions. And then Azula happened. Azula really started blowing up my TikTok, and then I did the Owl House, like Dirty Dubs of the Owl House.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of how it all started: boredom, a pandemic, and literally nothing else to do.
And with the likes of people such as Gray Delisle, you two actually became quickly associated based off of your videos. Can you kind of tell us what was that leap like for you, and what was that decision process to go, okay, I'm going to go from New York now to LA at such a young age?
When the Azula stuff had started blowing up, I was like, well, I'm just curious. I don't know who the voice of Azula is. And then my mind was blown, and I was like, oh my God, she's Daphne. Oh my God, she's this, she's that. She's like 500 million things. And during the pandemic, they had these virtual Comic-Cons because I was like, you know, I'm never going to be able to like go to a convention wherever the hell she's going to be and say hi. So they had these virtual Comic-Cons. They weren't cheap either, but I did it. I think we met like a few times through those virtual cons because she was doing a lot of them, and I just kept popping up, just kept showing up. And eventually she kind of took me under her wing. She was like, you know, you should actually, I know you're doing this for fun, but you should like seriously consider it. I took her advice and I just took some classes and stuff, and I don't know when or if I would have been in LA had it not been for her really just helping me get super cheap rent, a nice place to live. And yeah, I mean, I owe a lot to her. And I mean, I remember listening to podcasts too when I was listening and learning about voiceover. Everybody was like, you need a mentor, you need somebody to help you, need somebody that believes in you. I'm like, what the heck am I gonna get? And I got Gray Delisle. So I think I kind of won.
And for you moving to LA, that must have been a very weird transition considering where you grew up. What has been the hardest part of moving and navigating a city of this scale?
It wasn't easy because this was really my first time actually like paying rent, paying bills, and it was so far away from home, and you know, like with the time zone differences and everything. It wasn't easy, but you know, like I said, I had Gray. I don't know when or if I would have made the jump had I not had her to be like, you know what, she's not paying for anything, but like she's there as a safety net. And then that safety net only ended up growing as I started settling myself in more and meeting more voice actors. And
because Gray helped you so much, obviously there was a lot of work that you had to put in for yourself as well. And at that time, being an entry-level voice actress What kind of roles were you booking, if any, at that initial moving phase?
Oh, I don't think I was booking anything at that time because I was also too busy establishing myself in literally every which way of I need to go to the DMV, I need to change my license, I need to change my license plate, I need to establish myself as a citizen in California. The paperwork and everything was so daunting and so exhausting. And then like I need to find a primary care, I need to find X, Y, and Z, I need to find a, all of these things to settle myself down. So while I was doing that, I was just having fun and I was creating content as like the outlet, as like my practice. So that's when I was really going in on like the Owl House dubs and like I did some South Park dubs too. So yeah, I was really kind of going big on content creation because also at that time I was like, well, I'm in LA and my TikTok at the time was still hot. So I was like, maybe I can do some content creator stuff. What I'm so mad about is that now somebody can tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when I was doing content, it was really hot. I was still living in New York and doing content based off of a fandom at that time. Like I was rep by 2 agencies for influencer stuff, and they told me right off the bat, like, we'll take you, but nobody really does what you do. Like, nobody does fandom-based content. Like, we don't know how to rep you, we don't know how to understand, like, how to get you into places, and now, what do you see? What do you see? So many people making fandom-based content. I'm like...
So, when you first moved there in 2022, you did some entry-level content creation for some people, and you still do it now. In the voiceover industry, what's your take on that connections matter more than talent when first booking roles and networking with people?
Ooh, that's a good one. Both matter because so many people I feel like go for the door. They run for the door before they're ready. And I mean, honestly, I was rejected by 3 agencies here, and was it 4? And I totally firmly believe that I was given that door, or people walked me in, or I went for that door, depending on the agency, when I was not ready. Like, I could probably walk in now, especially with a glitch credit to my name. I could walk in now and things may be different. But don't look for the door just yet until you're ready, because so many people will look for those opportunities, and like, we'll get into networking for the purpose of trying to further their career, and like, people can see that right through you. I did do work for voice actors. I started with some content creation, but then as I'm in LA, I came to do like a lot more administrative stuff, and I think that, I mean, I've been passed around this industry like hotcakes, you know? There's a lot of voice actors that I've worked for, that I've done a lot of stuff for, and I don't know, I mean, like, I got Grey Delisle first, and now I got Jennifer Hale. I've got, like, the most, well-known animation one, and then now I work for Jennifer Hale, the most well-known gaming voice actress, so, and I mean, that's honestly just been through people talking. Good reviews, I guess.
And I think something important to mention as well is your creative passion, not just for voice acting, but for poetry. You have 2 books out, Butterfly Words and The Letters She'll Never Read. And throughout, you advocate for people considered minorities, and the impact and the intent in them are so powerful. So why is it important for you, Zelda, to advocate and to use your voice to help those who may not be able to use theirs or be disregarded in that matter?
That was me. I mean, growing up in a primarily white town, being an ethnic kid, especially being Indian, because if you look and you see like what's the representation that we got out there, Baljeet, Raj, stereotypical Indian parents, and when you grow up and when you only see that, or you only see people of color portrayed as a stereotype, whatever it may be, that's all you think that you can be, and you see all the the skinny white girls and all the magazines and all the cool roles and stuff like that, and it just makes you, you grow up believing that until you can actually see something. So that's why, that's why representation is so important and it matters so much. And at that time, poetry was just my outlet, because I didn't feel like talking, I didn't feel like speaking, so I would just write it out.
Have you grown in any different type of way? Has it helped you become more well-spoken, things like that?
I think if anything, the first thing that comes to mind is I've gotten more protective of my creative side, Because it's almost like when you further a relationship, when you go from dating to married or something, or when you go from dating to living together. When you go from, oh, I get to make reels whenever I want. Oh, I get to do voice acting whenever I feel like it'll just hop in and make content. When you rely on your creativity for work, that's when things can get really rocky, especially in an industry like this, in a time like this with social media and imposter syndrome, the perception that people create around their lives when it is far from the truth. Like, that protecting my creative side, I think, is one thing that I've learned a lot, because I really wanted to just shill it out. I was like, I don't care, I'll do whatever, I will do whatever it takes, blah blah blah. But now I'm way more reserved. I'm like, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not doing it.
We all need our boundaries set. So what is it that you like to do to help you unwind or just be in a much better mental space?
Yeah, I mean, especially living in such like a busy place like LA, I get so overwhelmed, and then I'm an introvert naturally, so when I can get very drained after cons, so I will try and go somewhere. I love to go to the beach. I will go to the beach any day, anytime.
Malibu?
So thankfully it's not too far. Malibu, yep. I mean, Dana Point now too. I kind of really like
okay.
Dana Point. So yeah, I will go there. I will, try and go on like any kind of trails, forest. Descanso Gardens area it's a little garden around here. Yeah, I would say nature's my main thing that kind of recharges my battery.
We get so wrapped up in saying yes for people that we don't ever give ourselves enough time to regenerate. Like yesterday, for the first time in like 2 weeks, I finally put myself first and went and had a nice dinner, came home and just did nothing. I think we need to definitely prioritize our mental health and just giving yourself the love you deserve. And I would now, though, like to definitely move over to the Knights of Guinevere, because congratulations on being Andy. What is it like for you to play Andy?
It's weird. Because it was a journey. Because I feel like if you talk to Michaela, my co-star who plays Frankie, she was like very certain of like, oh, that's me. And it took me a while to realize like, oh, Andy's just me.
When I watched the first episode, fell in love with Andy. Hysterical. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it. She is the comedic relief. What is it like for you to prepare for that?
Don't need to prepare. I'll be honest. I curse like a sailor, any minor inconvenience. My toes stubbed, my pillow's warm, F-bomb this, F-bomb that, dramatic statement this, dramatic statement that. Because I am the exhausted pack mule, and I especially was during the time when I got Andy. And I used to talk to Dana about, about being the pack mule, about being the janitor and having to clean up everybody's mess. And I've never asked her this, and I keep forgetting, but I don't know if that was like an inkling for her to be like, we may have our Andy, okay. So, because I complained to her before I even got the audition.
And I did just watch episode 1 before the interview again, just as a little refresher, and I do know now that season 1 is going to be dropping eventually, which is super exciting. And also, there's some congratulations in order because you have reached con level. So what was your first con experience like?
It was a bit of an experience, but it was a good con. It was a good first one. It was, the people that turned out were just great. And, the people that came to the panel, we did like a whole cool watch party. It was weird because I was an agent before I was a talent. So being on the other side, it was hard. I left my table a lot. And it was really hard for me to adjust. Like, oh, I have to sit down now. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know things off the top of the bat. Oh, wait, I can't talk to the promoter like I'm working with them because I'm not. It's my job to sit at the table and, greet people and sign stuff. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So it was a weird shift, and it's still a weird shift. And I get a little bit of FOMO each and every time where I'm like, aw.
And obviously, every time you're at one of these conventions, you're getting to meet the viewers of Knights of Guinevere. And what is that like for you, being able to connect with them one-on-one?
It's cool because some of them, sometimes they'll ask, like, are you an Owl House fan, or are you like a Glitch fan? Like, I'm just curious about where they came from, and quite a few people did come from Owl House, so it's cool getting to like geek out and bond over Owl House and Knights of Guinevere, and I'm just so excited to be able to like once we get like episode 2 or 3 out, whenever the heck that's gonna be, like when we can finally just start talking even more about it, because there's there's not much right now to talk about besides the pilot, of course, but people have their theories and stuff like that I think is really cool. I just can't wait to be able to talk about it more. And it's, I mean, some of the people up there are so talented, and I knew too, like after seeing the Owl House fandom and their cosplays, their fan art and everything, I'm like, oh, they're gonna cook. They're gonna cook so good. And they have, because like I get fan art sometimes and like keychains and trinkets, and I mean, everybody's so freaking talented.
You have quite a number of tattoos that are just super like beautiful. They're very eccentric, eclectic. Can you show us some of them?
I would love to do a tattoo tour. So we'll start off with the first one. You were there when I got this one, right?
I was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because you got it over in, right?
Yeah, I was like just freshly turned 18, and watch this. She swims, you guys.
Wait, that's actually kind of cool.
See, thank you. So I'm like running or something. She's swimming. Going to arm numero uno. This is a heron.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And this is from the original Little Mermaid. No, it's not a maiden looking at a turnip. Everybody thinks it's a turnip.
So tattoos are obviously very expressive, just as like nail painting is as well. And I feel like sometimes there's a really big stigma between doing things like this, right? Like people, for some reason, care way too much about what other people are doing. What is your take on like the ferocity of just people thinking they can dictate everybody else?
Mind your own goddamn P's and Q's, okay? Like, listen, people used to get all up in my grill all the time too. Like, I am very tired now, and I dress pretty much like athleisure, like normal people clothes, but there's very much time when I did not dress in normal people clothes, and I got shit for it all the time. People were like, oh my god, it's just, I used to wear wigs all the time and all the stuff, and I don't regret it at all whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, I'm very grateful that I ended up doing that and not giving, not caring what other people would say, because like, listen, somebody's gonna comment like, oh, I don't like your tattoo, I don't like your tattoos, I don't like you have dyed hair, I don't like how expressive you are with your fashion attire and stuff like that. It's just like, you've got to be a certain amount of unhappy in your own life to just look at other people's, and because your unhappiness may be out of your control, or you don't know what to do about it, and you just consistently comment on other people's lives and try to drag them down with you, because sometimes misery loves company. And you know what? Well, I'm sorry that you're in such a place that you're so unhappy and miserable that you need to go and, try and yuck somebody else's yum, but stay in your lane and just ignore those people.
And we have a lot of people that want to join the industry in some shape or form. What is your advice to people that want to take that leap of faith to come into the industry?
People will come up to me a lot at the booth and will ask for advice, which I always encourage, because everybody's situation is different, and I feel like that's what was so overwhelming to me about voiceover. It's not like I go to college and I get a degree in it and then I can just get in any job. Like, it's a whirlwind, for sure, and you need guidance, and you need a mentor, and you need vetted, trusted platforms, vetted, trusted individuals. And I feel like a lot of people know, because I don't make it quiet, that I work for Jennifer Hale. She has a learning platform, skillsup.life, and you need to pay attention to the business site. You need to pay attention to the business side of things. You need to pay attention to your mental health, because if you don't, you're not gonna last. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna be blunt about it. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not gonna last. And if you don't know how to market yourself, you're not gonna last either. So there are many good, knowledgeable people. Back when I was starting, I don't know if this is still true, I was always told that, if you don't have a commercial demo, you're never gonna get an agent. You can have an acting demo, but if you don't have commercial, then you're not gonna get an agent. And I wanted an agent ASAP. So I went with commercial training first. And that really I think it sets the groundwork for acting. For me, at least, it worked, because you were getting hammered in. How do I sound? What do I sound like? How do I sound conversational? How do I sound grounded? And that's what everybody's looking for in acting these days. It's no longer more, oh, hi, Tommy, how you doing? No longer like the 2006, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network type stuff. They want grounded and they want real. And if you can do that, and you can understand your cadence, know how you sound, so you don't sound like you're trying to sound how you talk, then that's one of the things I just immediately think of off the bat is like, what's your advice? Commercial training. Commercial training, get grounded, and then everything is all the more easier, in my opinion.
And I think it's also very important to note as well that everybody's road to their version of success is totally different.
Yep.
Not all roads are the same. You know, your road was totally different. And while you had an easy way kind of into the industry, it still took you a long time to navigate that and get to where you are now.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, it's been 4 years since you moved from New York to LA, and you are now just getting into your, I say this with all respect, like your breakout role.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
It took you time. You know, you worked for it. There were a lot of sacrifices you had to make. There were a lot of hurdles that you had to overcome. And eventually everybody will get to where they need to be. But you also have to remember that it's not going to be like some people's overnight success. Zelda, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real honor to be able to sit down and interview you about your career, your personal life, your road to success. And I think it's going to help a lot of people navigate the next chapters in their life. And I think a lot of people would love to know, where can we find you next?
So in a few weeks, actually, I'll be going to MomoCon in Atlanta, Georgia. In June 12th through 14th, I'll be going to Animate Columbus, and then at the end of June, I will be going to another Animate show in Humboldt, Texas.
Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the first ever episode of the MarKoni podcast. And for all of you watching at home still, you can go catch Knights of Guinevere streaming now on YouTube. Zelda, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the first episode of the MarKoni podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a comment down below letting us know your favorite part and who you would love to see on the next episode. Also, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that little bell notification to never miss another future episode of the MarKoni podcast. In the description, you can also find our social medias, and we will see you on the next one.